Hey guys, it's YodaJoe93. Happy Saturday. So as you guys know, on Wednesday, I saw Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. And so, with that film, this is the 7th Mission Impossible movie. I quite like this movie. And now it's time to rank all 7 Mission Impossibles from the worst to the best. So guys, this will be my official ranking for all Mission Impossible movies. And just remember, this is my list. It may not be the right list, but it is my list. So, make sure you hit a like, share, and subscribe before we get started. And we're going to get into it, guys. Coming in at number 7 on the list, we have Mission Impossible 2. Now, in my humble opinion, the Mission Impossible movies only get better as we get to the later numbers. So I feel like the early Mission Impossible movies aren't as good as the newer ones. But this one specifically is weird. So, there's some weird story twists with Kerry Russell. It is really interesting here. This is also one that was done by J.J. Abrams. So J.J. Abrams was a big fan of, J.J. Abrams really likes Kerry Russell, which is really interesting. I think that she's a good actress, but I really didn't like her character in this movie, and I really just felt like this movie kind of was bogged down. It wasn't that exciting. So these older ones, the effects kind of lack now, and then watching them on replay, and it's not that good in my opinion. There's no real bad Mission Impossible movie, but this is as close as you can get to a, mediocre to solid movie. Then we got Mission Impossible 3. 3 is much better than 2, and is pretty solid actually. So I actually think this one was pretty good. There was some good action sequences. The story flows pretty nicely. I think it's got some nice stuff in it, for sure. I like Mission Impossible 3. Alright, coming in at number 5 at this list, we have the first Mission Impossible. Now, this movie is a great start to the franchise. You get to meet these characters very early on, and it's cool. It's a good story. It's got some good twists. It's got some great actors in it, but unfortunately, the effects hold it back for being some of the very best of the Mission Impossible franchise. But it's still pretty good. Now, let's head into our number 4 contender. Coming in at number 4 on our list is Ghost Protocol. This movie was the one where Tom Cruise started doing the death-defying stunts, and me and my friend Jake the Snake first started these movies when we watched Mission Impossible 4 in theaters. I had seen 1, 2, and 3 previously, but I'd never gotten to see them in theaters. But 4 was where I really got excited. I watched this movie because one of my video production teacher recommended I go see this movie because it had some great camera shots and just overall great action. And this movie did not disappoint. It's still my 4th favorite in the franchise. I think it's really good. I think it's got some great action, some great stunts, and Tom Cruise is fantastic as always. I think this is awesome. I like this one a lot. I love the Mission Impossible films. This is one of my most favorite ones. All right, so that's why I have Ghost Protocol at number 4. Let's head into number 3. Number 3 on the list, we have Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Now, Rogue Nation is really good because it has great action. They introduced Rebecca Ferguson's character to the franchise. She's a badass. She has a yellow dress. She's basically playing an assassin, using a rifle that was hidden through a violin. And so, really cool spy stuff here. Really good action. Some good humor between Simon Pegg and the Arby's guy. And just their banter is really developed here, and it's really fun. Some really cool action scenes. This is where, as we say with the Fast and the Furious franchise, the movies start to hit the pedal to the metal. The stunts get crazier. The stories are cool. The villains get pretty intense, and it's a really good story. I really dug Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. It's one of my favorites. All right, coming in at number 2 on the list. Now, this might disappoint some people, but Dead Reckoning Part 1 is my number 2 on the list. Now, some people are like, well, why isn't it number 1? It's the most brand new Mission Impossible movie. Shouldn't it be the best? Well, let me explain. There are a couple things in this movie that just didn't work for me, unfortunately, which we're going to get to. So, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. This one involves us dealing with this is a 2-parter, so, it's set, but unlike Across the Spider-Verse, it actually feels like it is one story, which is really cool. And the cliffhanger is good. So my big things with this is, let's get the positives out of the way. One of the reasons why this movie is number 2, there are some really cool action sequences. I love all the characters. This movie has a lot of stakes. Characters die, and I won't talk about that until Sunday because I want to save my spoiler talk for you guys. But the stakes are higher than ever in this movie. The government turns on Ethan Hunt, and you know, you got Haley Atwell, great cast in here, and the villain in this video, or the villain in this movie, Gabriel, played by the guy that played Deathstroke from Titans, is absolutely menacing, terrifying, and easily the best villain in the Mission Impossible franchise. Now, here's where the cons come in. Cons for this movie. Oh, also another positive. Pom Klementieff, who plays Mantis in the Guardians film, is a great badass assassin in this movie. She feels like she fits in the John Wick world, but enters the Mission Impossible world, and she's great. I loved her character. I can't wait to see what they do with her in the new DC universe. But here's where the cons come in. So I mentioned this movie has good action scenes. Now, here's the problem. I've been studying action since I was very young in video production class to my martial arts extensive training, and I've been reading books and learning how action is shot and studied how photography and film works for years. So I love myself good action more than anything in a lot of films, and I do fight scene breakdowns on movies and TV shows. If you guys have not checked those out, definitely check those out. So what we're going to talk about here is why is this movie only number 2 on the list? Well, here's the first issue, which is the action scenes are too choppy. Some of the fight scenes, unfortunately, Christopher McQuarrie does not know how to shoot multiple attacker action scenes. So I study in Krav Maga. In Krav Maga, we focus on how to end the fight before it even starts. And when you're faced in a corner or an alley where you have 4 different attackers, you need to deal with it in the best way as possible that you can. And dealing with it is important. And so what I think happens here that's really unfortunate is whenever there's an enemy coming at Mr. Hunt, cut. Other enemy comes in, cut. Because they're trying to hide some of the action because it looks sloppy and it doesn't look very good. And then, so that's kind of sad, unfortunately. There are some sloppy cuts, some weird editing choices. So yeah, that's one of the things that holds it back for me. And then, the other thing is, people said that they watched this movie that the pacing is really good and it feels like it flies by like nothing. I didn't have that same experience. I unfortunately found that there were a couple sequences in this movie that were a little boring, and I was kind of waiting for it to pick up the pace and build up. And so, but mostly the choppy action really bothered me. That's my biggest gripe. I still give it an 8.5 out of 10, for sure, but it's only my second favorite. So, headed in at number 1. Mission Impossible Fallout. It's still my favorite Mission Impossible movie. It has everything you could expect, guys. It has great action. Henry Cavill is in this movie as a villain with a big mustache and a beard, and he literally is unloading his arms, like doing punches, but he's unloading so fast. There's this incredible bathroom sequence, one of the most brutal villain deaths at the end of this movie, through a helicopter shootout. Henry Cavill with a big machine gun in the helicopter, versing Tom Cruise on the mountain. One of the craziest stunts ever. Well, Mission Impossible 7 does have that motorcycle stunt, which is cool. I just love Fallout more. Great action, clean shots, well choreographed, good camera angles. So overall, guys, these are my Mission Impossible movies ranked 1 through 7. Let me know what your guys' Mission Impossible rankings are in the comments below. And what was your favorite movie I talked about on this list? Let me know what your favorite Mission Impossible movie is in the comments below. And let me know why. And if you don't like my list, it's okay, it's my list. And I'd love to hear yours. Have a great day.